The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with laughter. Ambassador Zexther of the Zarkonian Empire couldn't contain his amusement as he looked at the small human delegation standing before the assembly. "You want a seat on the Security Council?" Zexther's tentacles writhed with mirth. "Your species barely discovered faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. You have, 12 colonies? The Zircon Dominion has 12,000. Sarah Chun, Earth's lead ambassador, stood firm despite the mockery. Behind her, Lieutenant Jung-Hoon Park kept his hand steady, though his jaw clenched. The vast chamber held representatives from over 300 species, and most were chuckling at humanity's request. "We understand our youth in the galactic community," Sarah said calmly. "But Earth offers unique perspectives and capabilities." "Capabilities?" interrupted Commander Velanash of the Altarian fleet. "Your entire navy consists of 40 ships. My species commands 40,000. What could you possibly offer?" The holographic displays around the chamber showed the numbers clearly. Humanity's fleet was tiny. Their territory was small. Their technology was decades behind the major powers. On paper, humans looked like children trying to sit at the adults' table. Admiral Min-Jun Kim watched from Earth's command center, millions of light years away. The live feed showed his people being humiliated, but he smiled. They had no idea what humanity had been building in secret. Perhaps a demonstration would help. Sarah suggested. "A demonstration?" Zexther leaned forward, his 6 eyes gleaming. "Very well. The Ravager pirates have been terrorizing the Outer Rim for months. 9 species have failed to stop them. If your mighty fleet can handle even 1 Ravager ship, we'll consider your request." The council erupted in laughter again. The Ravagers used stolen Zircon technology. They were ruthless and well-equipped. Even veteran fleets struggled against them. "We accept," Sarah said simply. Back on Earth, Admiral Kim turned to his crew. "Send the message to Captain Seo Yeon. It's time to show them what humans can do." 3 days later, the Terran fleet arrived at the Outer Rim. The Galactic Council watched through long-range sensors, expecting to witness humanity's embarrassment. 40 human ships faced off against 50 Ravager vessels. "They're outnumbered," Galanash observed. "This will be over quickly." But something was different about the human ships. They moved in perfect coordination, like a school of fish or a flock of birds. The Ravagers charged forward with their usual aggressive tactics. Captain Seo Yan stood on the bridge of the TNS Victory. "Execute pattern Delta," she commanded. The human ships suddenly scattered in what looked like chaos. The Ravagers, confused, tried to pursue individual targets. That's when the trap revealed itself. Each human ship had deployed tiny drones, invisible to standard sensors. Thousands of them, working together like a swarm. They attached to the Ravager ships and began disrupting their shields with synchronized electromagnetic pulses. "Impossible," Zexther gasped. "No species has ever achieved that level of drone coordination." The secret was simple. Humans had spent thousands of years perfecting swarm behavior, studying insects and birds. While other species built bigger ships, humans built smarter systems. The Ravager fleet, shields failing, tried to retreat. But the human ships had already moved into a perfect sphere formation around them. Every escape route was blocked. "Sir, they're surrendering," Lieutenant Park reported to Admiral Kim Dot in the council chamber. Silence had replaced laughter. Humanity had defeated the Ravagers without destroying a single ship, without killing anyone. They had won through tactics no other species had imagined. How? Velanash demanded. Sarah smiled. "Humans have a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. We may be new to space, but we've been fighting and thinking strategically for 10,000 years. Zexther's tentacles had stopped moving. The vote for humanity's Security Council seat will be held tomorrow. As the human delegation left the chamber, whispers followed them. The young species that everyone had mocked had just changed the game. And this was only the beginning. Admiral Kim looked at the tactical displays showing human colonies. 40 ships had defeated 50. But hidden in secret shipyards, 300 more were being built. Humanity hadn't come to space to be spectators. They had come to protect it. Asterisk. 6 months had passed since humanity's victory over the Ravagers. The Security Council vote had been close, but Earth now held a provisional seat. Ambassador Sarah Chun sat at the council table. Though many members still viewed humans as upstarts, the emergency alert shattered the morning calm. Admiral Min Jun Kim appeared on the main screen, his face grave. Council members, we have a situation. The Kurathan hegemony has broken the peace treaty. They're attacking zircon mining colonies in the neutral zone. Zexther's skin turned pale blue, a sign of rage among his species. Impossible. The Kurathans wouldn't dare. Our fleet, your fleet is 3 days away, interrupted General Karvesh of the Kurathan hegemony, appearing on another screen. His reptilian features showed no emotion. By then, those colonies will be ours. The dilithium reserves belong to the strong. The council erupted in chaos. The zircon colonies held 30 million civilians. Without dilithium, half the galaxy's ships would be grounded. This wasn't just an attack. It was economic warfare. The Altarian fleet can be there in 2 days. Commander Velanash offered. Not fast enough, Karvesh sneered. Accept the new reality. The hegemony controls those sectors now. Sarah stood up. The Terran fleet can be there in 6 hours. Everyone turned to stare at her. Even at maximum FTL speed, it should take at least 20 hours from Earth's position. That's impossible, Zexther said. Unless ... double quotes. His 6 eyes widened. You have ships already stationed near our colonies? Captain ECO Yen's image appeared on screen from the TNS Victory. Admiral, we have 15 vessels in stealth positions around the neutral zone. We've been monitoring unusual Kurathan activity for weeks. The council fell silent. Humans had been watching, preparing, while others argued politics. You spied on us? Karvesh snarled. We protected the peace, Sarah corrected. Captain C.O. Yan, you have authorization to defend those colonies. Jung-Hoon Park, coordinated from the Tactical Center on Luna Base. Captain, I'm sending you the swarm configurations. The Kurathans use heavy shields, but slow turrets. Pattern Omega should work. The battle began 4 hours later. 50 Kurathan warships, each 3 times the size of a human vessel, surrounded the mining colonies. The 15 human ships dropped out of stealth, appearing like ghosts. 15 ships? Karvesh laughed. You insult us humans. Seo Yun didn't respond with words. Instead, she released the swarms. But these weren't the same drones from 6 months ago. Humanity had been busy. These new drones carried something special. Adaptive AI that learned from enemy tactics in real time. The Kurathan ships fired their massive plasma cannons. The drones scattered, analyzed the weapon signatures, and immediately began projecting interference fields. Half the plasma shots dissipated harmlessly in space. What sorcery is this? Karvesh demanded. Lieutenant Chun Wei, Co Yan's tactical officer, smiled. Not sorcery, sir. Just good engineering. The drones are learning their firing patterns. The human ships moved in seemingly random patterns, but Jung-Hoon saw the beauty from Luna Base. They were hurting the Kurathan fleet, pushing them away from the colonies without the enemy realizing it. Then came the masterstroke. The drones suddenly attached to each other, forming larger structures. Within minutes, they had created a massive energy net between the Kurathan fleet and the colonies. If you fire on the colonies now, Su Yun announced, your shots will reflect back at you. I suggest withdrawing. Karvesh ordered his fleet to fire anyway. The plasma bolts hit the drone net and bounced back, striking 3 of his own ships. Their shields buckled under their own firepower dot in the council chamber. Zexther's tentacles were perfectly still. They turned our enemy's strength against them. Incredible. The Kurathan fleet retreated, humiliated but intact. Once again, humanity had won without destroying anyone. It was becoming their signature. How did you know? Velanash asked Sarah. How did you know to position ships there? Sarah pulled up a holographic map. Humans studied every major conflict in galactic history. We noticed patterns others missed. The neutral zone isn't neutral. It's a pressure point. We prepared accordingly. Karvesh appeared on screen one last time. This isn't over, humans. Yes, it is, Admiral Kim said firmly. Because next time, we won't be so gentle. Humanity protects the innocent. Remember that. As the council session ended, Zexther approached Sarah privately. Perhaps we misjudged your species. Perhaps you did, Sarah agreed. But that's changing, isn't it? The age of human influence had truly begun. The distress signal came from deep space, where no ship should be. Admiral Min-Jun Kim studied the readings with concern. 3 massive vessels, origin unknown, drifting toward inhabited systems. Every species that had investigated hadn't returned. They're generation ships, reported Captain Jung-hoon from his reconnaissance mission, keeping a safe distance. Ancient design, but something's wrong. Bioscans show millions of life forms, but no responses to our signals. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The ships were heading toward the core worlds, where billions lived. In 6 days, they would enter the Altarian system. Destroy them, Commander Velanash insisted. We cannot risk contamination. There might be survivors, Sarachon argued. We can't just murder millions of beings without trying to help. Help? Zexther's tentacles writhed anxiously. The Solithan Empire sent a medical team. Their ship went dark within hours. Whatever is on those vessels, it's dangerous. The holographic displays showed the plague ships in detail. Each was 20 kilometers long, carrying what appeared to be refugee populations. But something had gone terribly wrong. The bio-readings were erratic, showing life signs that didn't match any known species. Humans volunteered to investigate, Sarah announced. The council chamber erupted in protests, but she raised her hand. We have experience with biological hazards. Earth survived countless plagues. We know quarantine protocols better than anyone. Admiral Kim was already preparing. Captain Seo Yeon, take the TNS Hope. Full biohazard configuration. Seo Yeon's crew suited up in humanity's most advanced hazmat gear. Unlike other species who relied on energy shields, humans used multiple layers of physical and chemical barriers. They had learned the hard way that microscopic enemies required special tactics. As the Hope approached the first plague ship, Lieutenant Chun Wei noticed something odd. Captain, the hull shows blast marks. Someone tried to keep these ships out, not in. They docked carefully. The airlock hissed open, revealing darkness. Seo Yeon led the team inside, their lights cutting through the gloom. What they found shocked even the experienced crew. The passengers were alive but transformed. A biological agent had merged different species at the cellular level, creating hybrid beings in constant pain. They moved like zombies, drawn to any uninfected life. Dear God, whispered Medical Officer Park Min-Yong. It's a weaponized plague. Someone did this deliberately. Back at the council, Sarah shared the findings. This isn't a disease. It's a bioweapon from the old wars, probably triggered accidentally. The infected aren't dead, they're suffering. Then they must be destroyed, Velanash said coldly. It's a mercy. No, Sarah said firmly. Humans have another solution. The plan was audacious. Instead of destroying the ships, humans would cure the plague. Earth scientists had something unique, CRISPR technology refined over centuries. They could edit genes in real time. Impossible, Zexter said. No one can reverse that level of genetic damage. Captain C.O. Yan and her crew worked tirelessly. They captured infected specimens, analyzed the bioweapon structure, and began developing a counteragent. The key was not to fight the transformation, but to guide it towards stability. Dr. Park Min-young made the breakthrough. The weapon was designed to cause chaos in the cells. But if we introduce a stabilizing sequence, the victims can survive in their new forms. It took 4 days. 4 days of non-stop work, with the plague ships drawing closer to populated systems. Other species watched nervously, weapons charged, ready to fire if the humans failed. Then, miracle. The first patient, a transformed Altarian, stopped writhing in pain. His eyes, though changed, showed intelligence again. "Can you understand me?" C.O. Yeon asked. The being nodded slowly. "Help. Others. The cure was deployed via aerosol drones, flooding all 3 ships simultaneously. Within hours, millions of plague victims were recovering. They weren't returned to their original forms. It was impossible, but they were alive, aware, and no longer suffering. The council watched in stunned silence as the plague ships, now under control, were guided to a quarantine world where the survivors could rebuild their lives. How? Valinash asked, his usual arrogance gone. "How did you succeed where we would have failed?" Sarah smiled sadly. "Because humans have been both the victims and creators of biological warfare. We learned from our dark history. We know that life, even changed life, deserves a chance." Zexter stood up, something he rarely did. "I motioned to make humanity's Security Council seat permanent." The vote was unanimous. As the session ended, a new report came in. Unknown ships had been spotted near the galaxy's edge, using technology no one recognized. The real test for humanity was coming. The galaxy had never seen anything like them. Black ships that seemed to absorb light itself, appearing from nowhere to harvest entire solar systems. They stripped planets of resources, drained stars of energy, and disappeared into the void. The Galactic Council named them the Void Hunters. In 3 weeks, 17 systems had gone dark. No fleet could track them. No weapon could pierce their dark matter shields. Panic spread through civilized space like wildfire. "They're heading toward the core worlds," Commander Valinash reported, his usual confidence shattered. "At this rate, they'll reach the capital systems within days." The council chamber was fuller than ever. Every member species had sent representatives, desperate for solutions. Fear hung in the air like fog. "The Zircon Empire offers our entire fleet," Zexter announced. 60,000 ships ready to fight. "Fight what?" asked Ambassador Chun. "We can't even see them properly. They exist partially in subspace." Admiral Min-jung Kim had been quiet for hours, studying the attack patterns with Captain Jung-hoon and Lieutenant Park. Finally, he stood up. "Humans have a proposal," he said, "but it requires complete trust from the Council." Sarah Chun took the floor. "The Void Hunters aren't just advanced, they're operating on different physical principles. Traditional fleets won't work. But humans have been experimenting with something unconventional." She pulled up classified schematics. "Quantum entangled weapons. Devices that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously." The council murmured in confusion and fear. Such technology was theoretical at best, dangerous at worst. "You want to fight them in subspace?" Valinash asked incredulously. "Not fight," Captain Azion said, appearing on screen from the TNS Victory. "Hunt. Humans were persistence hunters long before we reached the stars. We don't need to be stronger, just relentless." The plan was insane by galactic standards. Instead of meeting the Void Hunters with massive fleets, humanity proposed using just 20 specially modified ships. Each vessel would carry quantum torpedoes that could phase between dimensions. 20 ships against an enemy that destroyed 17 systems? Zexther's tentacles writhed. That's not brave, it's suicide. Give us 48 hours, Sarah requested. If we fail, you can try your conventional fleets. The vote was close, but desperation won. Humanity got their chance. Captain C.O. Yeon led the Hunt fleet into the void between systems. Her ship, the Victory, had been refitted with sensors that detected quantum fluctuations. The other human vessels spread out in a vast net pattern. Waiting. Contact, reported Chun Wei. Quantum signature bearing 2-7-Mark-4 double quotes. The Void Hunter materialized. Partially, a massive shadow against the stars. It was heading toward the Altarian homeworld, ready to drain their sun. Execute pattern Sigma, C.O. Yan commanded. The human ships didn't attack directly. Instead, they began a complex dance, firing quantum torpedoes that phase-shifted in seemingly random patterns. To observers, it looked like chaos. But Jung Hoon, coordinating from Luna Base, saw the strategy. Each torpedo was pushing the Void Hunter, herding it like ancient humans once herded mammoth toward cliffs. The Void Hunter tried to phase back into subspace, but the quantum weapons had created a dimensional net. For the first time, it was trapped in normal space, fully visible. It was magnificent and terrible, a city-sized vessel of living metal and dark energy. But now it could be studied, understood. Sir, it's sending signals, Lieutenant Park reported. It's calling for help. More Void Hunters began appearing, surrounding the human fleet. 50 shadow ships against 20 human vessels. The Council watched in horror, certain they were about to witness humanity's destruction. But C.O. Yan smiled. Now we spring the real trap. Dr. Park, activate the virus. Dr. Park Min-young, the medical officer who had helped cure the plague ships, had created something special. Not a biological virus, but a quantum one-up pattern that disrupted the Void Hunter's phase shifting. Ability. The human ships released clouds of quantum particles. As the Void Hunters passed through them, their systems began failing. One by one, they solidified in normal space, unable to escape. All ships, message pulse on my mark, Admiral Kim ordered. Let's try talking before shooting. The message was simple, broadcast in mathematical concepts. Stop, talk, trade. For long minutes, nothing. Then, the lead Void Hunter responded. The message was garbled but understandable. Starving, dying, need energy. The truth was heartbreaking. The Void Hunters were refugees from a dying universe, desperately gathering energy to keep their people alive. They hadn't realized the systems they harvested were inhabited. We can help, Sarah told the Council. Humanity proposes teaching them controlled fusion harvesting. They can take energy without destroying systems. The negotiation took days, but eventually the Void Hunters agreed. They would become galactic citizens, trading their advanced technology for sustainable energy sources. The Council was stunned. Humanity had turned the greatest threat into potential allies. 1 year after the Void Hunter crisis, the Galactic Council convened for a historic session. The chamber, once filled with skepticism toward humanity, now buzzed with anticipation. Earth had called for a full assembly to propose something unprecedented. Admiral Min-jung, Kim stood before the gathered representatives, his weathered face showing the strain of the past year's campaigns. Beside him, Sarah Chun held a datapad containing humanity's proposal. Captain C.O. Yan and her crew watched from their ships, now stationed as permanent peacekeepers. Distinguished members, Sarah began. Humanity requests the Council adopt what we call the Terran Doctrine. The holographic display showed a simple document, but its implications were revolutionary. The doctrine had three core principles: protection of the weak, redemption over destruction, and unity through diversity. Commander Valanash leaned forward. You want to restructure our entire military philosophy? Not restructure, Admiral Kim corrected. Evolve. Every crisis we've faced could have ended in massacre. Instead, we found better ways. Zexthera's tentacles moved thoughtfully. You turned pirates into allies, saved plague victims others would have destroyed, and negotiated with existential threats. But can this philosophy work on a galactic scale? Before Sarah could answer, alarms blazed through the chamber. A massive fleet had appeared at the galaxy's edge, over 1 million ships bearing the mark of the ancient empire, a civilization thought extinct for millennia. Surrender or face annihilation, came the broadcast. The ancient empire has returned to reclaim what is ours. Panic erupted. 1 million ships was more than all council species combined. The ancients had technology from the galaxy's golden age. Resistance seemed impossible. We should negotiate terms, someone suggested. We should flee, another voice cried. Sarah stood firm. We fight. But we fight the human way. The council turned to her in disbelief. Even humanity couldn't face such odds. Not with ships, she explained. With ideas. Captain Jung-hoon had been analyzing the ancient fleet. Admiral, their technology is superior, but their tactics are 10,000 years old. They're using formation patterns from before the democratic age. Co Yan added from her ship. They think like conquerors, not protectors. That's their weakness. The human plan was audacious beyond measure. Instead of meeting the ancients with force, they would use the galaxy's greatest strength, its diversity. Every species here has unique capabilities. Sarah addressed the council. The Altarians have unmatched speed. The Zircon have numbers. The Kurithans have firepower. The Void Hunters can phase shift. And humans, we coordinate. For the first time in galactic history, every species would fight as one, using human tactical coordination. Not to destroy the ancients, but to show them the galaxy had changed. Admiral Kim took command of the combined fleet. All ships, this is Terran Command. Upload the sworn protocols. Today, we are all human. The ancient fleet approached the core worlds, expecting scattered resistance. Instead, they found something impossible: perfect unity. Altarian ships, enhanced with human swarm drones, danced between the ancient vessels. Zircon cruisers, following human patterns, created defensive webs. Kurithan warships, guided by human tactics, struck with surgical precision. The Void Hunters' phase shifted in and out, disrupting ancient formations, but the masterpiece was the coordination. Every ship, regardless of origin, moved as part of a single organism. The ancients, despite their superior technology, couldn't adapt to this new form of warfare. Impossible. The ancient commander broadcasted. No galaxy fights as one. This one does, Sarah responded. Because humans taught us something the ancients never learned together. We're stronger than our parts. The battle raged for 6 hours. Not to destroy the ancient fleet, but to disable it. Human medical ships rescued ancient crew from damaged vessels. Zircon engineers repaired ancient life support systems. Even the transformed plague survivors helped. Their unique biology, allowing them to survive in damaged ship sections. Finally, the ancient commander requested parley. His hologram appeared in the council chamber, showing a being of crystalline structure and ancient wisdom. In our time, strength meant domination, he said slowly. But you fight to preserve, not conquer. You save enemies instead of destroying them. What manner of philosophy is this? Sarah smiled. It's called humanity. Not the species, but the ideal. The belief that every life has value, that redemption is possible, and that diversity is strength. The ancient considered this. We left the galaxy because we saw only conflict in diversity. Perhaps. We were wrong. The negotiation was swift. The ancients would join the council, sharing their advanced technology in exchange for a place in this new galactic community. As the session concluded, the vote for the Terran Doctrine was unanimous. The galaxy had learned humanity's greatest lesson. True strength comes not from weapons or numbers, but from the choice to protect rather than destroy. Zexther approached Sarah after the vote. When you first arrived, we thought humans were weak because you showed mercy. And now? Sarah asked. Now we know that mercy requires the greatest strength of all. Earth had not conquered the galaxy. It had done something far more powerful. It had taught the galaxy to be human. The end asterisk.